Blessed love and peace. We gonna do this, God willing, again. God willing, we do it again. Uh, we are uploading. This looks so big. Blah blah blah. Actually, I might have gained weight. I did gain weight, kind of sort of lightweight, but I'm not as big as I've gained weight in the past year or so. Peanut butter. Well, first it was junk food, maybe about a couple months ago. Then for the past months, it's been like peanut butter, peanut butter, peanut butter. There's a lot going on with peanut butter. George Washington Carver, childhood, family, community, fat, comfort, jelly, sriracha. Yo, peanut butter and jelly. And then sriracha and peanut butter and rice. Peanut butter jelly, sliced bread. Peanut butter jelly, naan. Peanut butter jelly, chapati. All right, anyway. Yeah, so fatty, fat, fat, fatty. Fatty, fat, fat. That's some from some cartoon or whatever. Anyways, batty, batty, batty. That's what it is. That's way back in the day. Anyway, actually, that was actually Hollywood Shuffle. I was thinking about Green Hornet, but that was Hollywood Shuffle, like mocking Green Hornet. Anyway, um, if I recall correctly. So what we got for today? Yo, again, life. Hey, some things. All right. First of all, dealing with the streets, dealing with life, dealing with static, dealing with copacetic, dealing with the substance, dealing with the aesthetic. Bleedy beady bop, de blop blop, beady beady beat. That almost came out coherently. Demons and angels. That's what it all comes down to. We in the zone of demons and angels. Like, it's not about ethnicity. It's not about religion. It's not about rich, poor. It's not about police or streets. It's demons and angels, plain and simple. And the one reason for emphasizing is that when kinfolk are tripping, kinfolk are trying it, kinfolk are testing, sniffing like hyenas. Patience is demons. Everyone is holy. Everyone is a sacred child of God, and wrestling. And they got gremlins and demons and yaka fiends in the midst. So acknowledge that, at the very least, let that have some pause and some patience in dealing with it, and not feeling like personally slighted or whatever. Because kinfolk devalue and disrespect just all types of D. So patience. I'm telling that to myself right now, because all it takes is just a lack of patience right there. Snap, blop, blop. Snap, crackle, pop. How about that? So, patience. Um, so there's that part of it. And it's demons and angels. It's like, it's not even in the realm of politics. It's not the realm of even religiosity. This is where we are at this moment, and it might be just like a personal kind of experience of where we are, the stage of life that we are in, me personally and the kinfolk collectively around me, amidst all the different circles. But like, life is different. Still working on being married, having a wife have me. How can I do that? Have a wife have me? Whatever that is. Mutuosity. How about that? So that's a continual process. Again, we're working on that methodology of vocation, like recognizing what our purpose is, but what our role is in this life, what our work is in this life, what our seva, what our service is, our tikkun olam talent, and then with that, habitation, cultivating the field around us. So where we are seen, where we are interactive, where we are trusted, where we are comfortable, where we are safe, where we are known, where everybody knows your name. almost on key. So that takes some doing. That don't just happen. Bloody bop bop ba do. What? I'm sober. The herb is continually dilating, and we got dilating. How about that? Dilating from the system. And we got some commentary on that. I don't know how much we talked about this before. Oh, we uploading. Let's keep uploading, processing. That means they're done. Finish uploading. We on to the next one. On to the next one. Let's do this. Like Brutus, if you knew this, who this? Not the cutest, but somewhere amidst the flutist. This is long. Well, it's the same song all around the world. It's the digital underground indeed. Did we just double up on this upload? Are we uploading what we just uploaded? Are you doing this? They let us do this these days. Don't know why that is. I don't know why. I uploaded twice. Nora, what them is? Nora Jones, the granddaughter of one Ravi Shankar of blessed memory. I think this is a new one. This is not a repetitive one. Well, we'll find out in 12 seconds. Yo, this is super fast today. Hooray. That's what I say. Anyway. Wow. Can we get something substantive going rather than all this okey doke? So, I'm uploading stuff now, so I'm multitasking. And again, we talk about dudes, brethren. That's not our stuff. And now this is processing will begin shortly. Can I get out this screen? You don't want to hear all this. That's not what you came to see. La da 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 da. Wow, we're a little bit full of ourselves today, I should say. Seriously, I'm trying to get up this screen though. Cause I get talking and then I talk and then it doesn't get done. So that's what I'm focused on this right here. Alright, I think we get that. Okay, now we're into the big joint. That's what we're talking about. Alright. So, yeah. Oh, you gotta turn this one fast. Okay, alright, let's get into some content, some substance here. What are we talking about? We're talking about demons and angels, patience, concentration, talking about the herb in the system. Yeah, and again, I don't know if I don't know if I recorded this joint before about this topic, about the herb, and we're referring to it now as the botanical debate. The botanical world debate. The first context that it was described in is a world war, the botanical world war, but that's too much, that's too humanistic. Oh, let's button up somewhat. Come on now. All this stuff. Botanical world war, come on, that's so human. Don't do that. So, if anything, just say the botanical world debate. So what we mean by that is looking at plants and the effect, the influence that plants have on peoples. And the very different effects from cannabis to coffee to tea to tobacco. And then in these effects, the politics, the economics, the geopolitics, and further, the influence that these plants have in the behavior of people daily. And then even like moderately and mundanely, but then also severely. The lines that are drawn, particularly amongst the different types of kinfolk who partake of these different type of plants. And this being a type of vying between the plants, utilizing the people as minions, just manifesting the contentiousness, the competition between the plants. We can reason about this, plants being a higher sentience on this earth than humans. What that sounds like blasphemy to secularism. Anyways, OD. That's okay because secularism does not believe in God, per se, too tough. And we're dealing with demons and angels, so secularism tends to want to stay away from that. And that's not flippancy, we're just flowing. Continuing on. plants. So that's one, those are some of like the main ones in terms of like the immediate stimulus kind of thing. Cocaine is in there, not cocaine, but coca leaves, and all the derivatives and the derogatory degenerations of these plants as well. I mean, we can throw all different types of plants in there, but that's like the main joint, the main focus. But then we get into like that's like mind influence. Whether it's stimulation, whether it's mellow mood, or whatever else. But then we get into like the another realm of plants, another category, which is the rice and the grains, wheat. Can throw potatoes in there, maize, corn. I gotta think of the Muskogee word for corn. I know this, but I won't say it at the moment. So but they're just different type of grains, different type of like substance, like the staples of food, and the competition there. You can already see the geopolitics there, human civilization, the agricultural warfare between regions, trying to vie for not just economic leverage and market pricing, but like cultivating dependency among people, calling certain foods allergies. And that's not all respect to kinfolk who subscribe to that and listen to their doctors. And additionally, I'm not trying to hate on it. People experience systems, but again, also recognize, what? Anyways, so plants are behind that. You think it's science? You think it's doctors? Plants. And then that's like the stuff. That's the stomach. That's the stomach realm. But then we got herbs. And by herbs, I'm talking about like the. Not even garlic and whatever, because that's further into the kind of like herb, but we're talking about like medicinal herbs and stuff like that. So anyways, plants are vying, and all of these plants that I'm naming, one thing you might notice that they have in common, they're all land plants. So it's land plants competing against each other in these behavioral manifestations of humanoids. But at the same time, the keen or the severe binary in the plant botanical sphere, we can actually observe is between the sea plants and the land plants. And the further the destruction there is of land civilization, or human civilization, seems to establish further favorable conditions for certain types of aquatic botanical life, particularly algae and other things that feed off the decay that gets transmitted into the oceans. And so, may that be by intelligent design. Anyways, everything happens according to the grace of the Most High. We're not joking about that. So, anyways, that's some things for consideration. And then in that binary of the land plants and sea plants, there's obviously like the microbials, the bacteria, and all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm actually live. This is a person. I'm just flowing. I can't speak about how much I'm being influenced by having these earphones on. That's one thing that actually that's what precipitated. Yeah, I don't think I've done this yet. That's what precipitated that this notion or this revealing the signal of the botanical world debates, because I notice I'm observing the effect of the cannabis in my system in the days after partaking of herb earlier this week for the first time in 12 years, and being on a spiritual path, cultivating practice of samadhi, mantras, and additionally to keep mind focused and optimize concentration, so that when things get staticky around here, all the like just so much noise and pollution and angst and like static, and that's just like kinfolk right now. But then there's like going on the bus and the signals come on, people, the loud speaker advertisements and radio, going to the store. I have said this before, and I remember saying this before. Actually, it was when I was smoking herb, I think. Anyways, I don't think I've posted anything since or recorded anything. Maybe I did. Anyways, memory. Maybe that's a factor right there. Flies are about today. Notice that a little bit warmer today, so we've got some insects that are flying about. Insects in the latter of autumn. The latter month, the latter moon of autumn. So the herb is in my system still in a few days, but what I notice is that when I'm on the bus, particularly, I can feel I'm not high. I don't feel that effects. And what I notice, if anything, the basic influence that I experience from the herb is one, an increasing, actually, to be honest, an increasing amount of anxiety, to be honest, about like worrying about what other people are thinking and not being too much of a bother towards other people. That's what I observe myself, and not like being able to like discern how much I am like being too anxious about that or not. That's actually one thing I do remember. There's I don't have the luxury of kind of just like smoking herb and then watching a film or doing those things where it's just sensory and kind of immersed into the experience. I don't have that luxury. Even when I was watching a video, listening to music, seeing Sister and dance, and additionally I had to play the drum. I had to do something active to practice, and that's beneficial. But can't just like sit back and just relax and like listen to music or whatever else. Nah, man, I got things to do. Nah, sister, and I got things to do. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, so yeah, don't have that available. It's not recreation. It's not recreation. It's ritual. It's purpose, and particularly the purpose in this case, as I mentioned before, is a relationship. And that's serious facts. And it's a work in progress, and we're studying. We're looking at, we're observing the effects. And again, in the days after that, going on the bus, the signal comes on. Do this. Don't do that. Do this. Do this. Do this. Do this. Usually I get into my mantras, and then I just like block out the sound and just like wrestle with it with myself. I mean, wrestle with it by myself, and deal with whatever people might, all the side eyes or quiet angst kinfolk got towards me for like doing my mantras aloud, because I do block a sound to have some barrier and protection against just like the signals that are being inundated on kinfolk. However, in this past week, with the I don't want to say the THC, I'm just going to continue to recognize the plant rather than the chemical. With the plant, the essence of the plant still in my system, I could feel it. I could feel, for positive and negative, I felt a sluggishness, to be honest. Sister talked about me having glassy eyes, and additionally, I'm still sipping wishing well water from Pluto. That's why my eyes is glassy, so you ain't gotta ask me. Yeah. That was a paraphrase of Yasin Bey, peace and blessings. So, anyways, there's an effect. There are side effects with every medicine or whatever. And again, if that's glassy eyes, the smell of marijuana, if people might be very offended by it, guess what? It's much, 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 much healthier than the smell of petroleum. And further. So, anyways, we're not gonna get onto that trope. So felt in my system, but when I was on the bus, what I felt is like in that when the signal started coming on, the overside, rather than doing my mantra, I kind of sat back for a second and like I could feel the plant, the essence of the plant, like no, hold up, and like just like doing a forearm to that sound, to the overhead speaker, and be like, no, not right here, y'all, nah. And it was blocking out that sound without me having to do my mantra as much as I did before. I could do it perhaps quieter. I could just sit back and just like, what's going on here? But I felt the cognitive, we talk about cognitive malfeasance, because when people are trying to get into the head, people are influencing, planting negative things, planting very nasty things. It's nasty levels at this cognitive malfeasance. And cognitive malfeasance seems to flourish within cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance means static, just causing stress, anxiety, fear, hunger, and in that, then dropping these hints and these suggestions of self-harm, harming others and otherwise. Confusion, wastefulness or whatever, expenditure of whatever resources somebody has. Just misguidedness. There's all different types of levels and ways of cognitive malfeasance, and the signals of the overhead on the bus to a captive audience, in the grocery store, the music is so unhealthy, even like the standards that people love, that I grew up listening to, that you don't question, so unhealthy. Talking about relationship, and it's like usury, objectification, predatoriness. And that's what's mainstream, so you can't question it. And it gets in people's head, and then you think about it, you start singing it, and then manifesting. That's cognitive malfeasance. So, when kinfolk are mindful of this and mindful of having a mental health protections, grammar's around there somewhere. Um, it's like, okay, mantra, that's what I do, and there's effectiveness within this, particularly multilingual. Learning the languages of our ancestors is very beneficial, but then it might have some different effects amongst the immediate kinfolk, depending on one's immediate environment. So that's one thing to be mindful of. So there's a lot of advice in terms of identifying mantras to memorize and commit to heart. But I'm rather thankful, and I find mantras very effective. Kinfolk are like very heady kinfolk seem to be playing closer ear. And again, we get into the whole realm of the telepathic experience, and additionally, which is so for people such as I and I who are able to speak of it in some kind of direct way. There's an increasing amount of tension. There's an increasing amount of trust in certain ways, increasing amount of temptation and targetedness, an increasing amount of sharing, with the intention of us continuing to articulate this without antagonism, without hatred, with constructiveness, with compassion, with empathy, with responsibility, with some type of coherency and perhaps some conciseness. Um, so, anyways, that's the telepathic thing. I'm going on all types of things, and I'm seriously sober. I'm not. Oh, caffeine. How about that? Had coffee earlier today, and I've had coffee perhaps further often this past week after having the herb. So that's part of the contention of the botanical world debate. And I do observe how when having the coffee, that counters the essence of the herb in my system, because now the caffeine is like, yo, no, we back in this. Remember us? Yo, we do this. Hype. Get back into the system. Listen to that signal. It's okay. We know the people who did this. They drink coffee too. What up? So that's what we observe, and that might be a significant reason for the rapidity. Get out that reader. The rapid. Wow. These thumbnails that YouTube likes to select, they kind of clown on this. 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 Alright, we on to the next one. We gotta upload another. We ain't gotta wake up early in the morning, because we're not looking for easy lover. No, not that one either, because we're looking for a wifey. And that requires long time commitment, mutuality, respect, RESPECT. Why? Because she's a queen. You better treat her like a queen. And that, and this, and that, and this. So observing the botanical world debate manifested through the guise of peoples. What else we gotta share? I just jumped all the way to middle school right now, because this is a thought that I have yet to articulate. But just observing like how I'm valued at middle school, and why I talk about middle school is because that's when puberty hits for most people, for many people. That's when even when kinfolk aren't experiencing puberty, that can be a little bit of early age, but 12, 13 years old, that's when a lot of kinfolk start to experience puberty. And even if people are not experiencing puberty themselves, they're socializing around people who are, and so dating, relationship, and everything else starts to become a thing, and then people start looking at each other. Boys start looking at girls, girls start looking at boys along these lines. And that's when playtime is over. All those friends that you had at the beginning for the past 4 or 5 years in elementary school, yo, things don't change. People leave schools, people start to get into the grind. Parents make decisions, parents make moves. No, you can't play with them no more. You can't play with this. It's time to get serious now. We're getting ready for high school. You got to think about your life. And in those scenarios, um, people get valued. Children get valued differently, and it's actual, like it happens. And again, it might just like be like slight change, like somebody just gets a stank attitude all of a sudden. They might start clowning in a different way, and like they're not joking. It might get nasty. They start, but what I observed for myself, didn't have a lot of money. Went to Value City to get the clothes. Didn't have the labels in the small private school that we were at. Um, so I was nice. I was in the school for a long time, so I was known. Family's known. Decent in sports. Decent in education, school. Decent in terms of intelligence and thinking about things in a creative and solution based kind of way. Um, so that was my thing. And what I observe is that I think many of the sisters of European ancestry, the class we're in is basically Eurocentric, but there are maybe like 20, 20%, 30% kinfolk of African ancestry and some additional ethnicities as well. But that's basically it. But what I observe is that many of the sisters of European ancestry seem to value me less because of being without, not just because of being of African ancestry. That's a significant thing. But also because of economic viability. Of just like not that he's not going to have the credentials, he's not going to have the things to get to do the things in high school, to go to the ski trips and all these other things, and so because of that, devalued. And this is not hate. This is not like sour grapes or whatever else. It's just observing, because they're all different types of insecurities and whatever else. But just recognizing like, yo, not valued, as a marital prospect or whatever. Sister of African ancestry, I think, valued me for being of African ancestry and being somewhat intelligent and perceiving some type of potential of being like a leader within the community based upon education and having connections in the community, and additionally. And so amongst a sister of African ancestry, there seems to be a further belief. I'm getting a phone call. I got to pause this, and continue on. All things to praise the Most High. Elohim, blessed love and peace, and Rastafari.